This is the Refuge Project.
Welcome to the Refuge Project. The Refuge Project is a place that we can have meaningful conversation in a safe place.
Yep.
Meaningful.
Yep.
Meaningful today.
Yep.
Man, it's starting out rough.
Yeah. We're your hosts. That's David. I'm James. We are starting out rough.
Yeah.
David texted me on the way over here. He said, "Hey, stuck by a train. Gonna be a little late." We get to his office. He looks like a hoarder. He's got
I'm a love hoarder.
Yeah, it's just all this Valentine stuff from the love conference over the weekend. Which, by the way, congratulations on that. It all went off really good.
Yeah, man. I think so. Well, congratulations to you. Like, you came in and scooped up all the prizes.
I told you I was going to. Where's the thing? Yeah. I've been saying it for a month. I said, if I go, I'm winning the cruise.
Oh, man. Not only the cruise, but you got the massage for two.
Right, that's right. Although we ended up giving that to my brother.
Okay.
Figured, I got a cruise.
Share the love.
Share the love.
Okay.
Man.
Well, that's
so
awesome.
we're nice. That was Tara's idea, by the way. She's like, maybe we should give it to somebody. She's always the one, maybe we should give some stuff away. That's always her. That's never my first thought. My first thought is always like, man, I got all this stuff.
How can I sell this?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. I was just going to use them both. But she said, maybe we should give it to somebody. I said, that's probably a good idea. We'll give it to...
Steve and Carissa won the dinner cruise out of Kima.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave theirs away, too.
They gave it away?
Yeah, they gave it away, yeah.
Jeez.
So,
did they win multiple things?
No.
They just don't like them?
I don't know. He likes them because Steve and Carissa's the one that come up with the giveaways. They just thought,
Just feeling
I guess since they were a part of the whole team that put this on, that they didn't feel worthy or something. I don't know. I told them, should have kept it. I would have went with y'all.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take a second cruise.
Yeah.
I'll take another one.
So have you looked at cruises?
I have looked at some.
Okay.
I think, so once at the end of that service, after we won it, there was like 4 different couples that came up to us and was like, hey, congrats. Hey, let us know when you're going because we might just come too. So anyway, I'll probably try to coordinate with some people and be like, hey, if y'all really want to come,
that'd be cool.
When we going?
Yeah.
And figure out a time. So I don't know. I looked at a few. What I'm probably going to do is book like a 5-day one and just pay the difference.
Yeah.
Because it'll only be like a couple $100.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we're going to end up doing. But
that's cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, there's a cruise coming up in August that a bunch of pastors are going on. So I think we might hop on that one. So 5.
It's going to preach to everybody.
I don't know. I think listen. I hope not. Listen. I know that sounds terrible coming from a pastor or whatever. But come on, can we just go and fellowship?
Yeah.
And have a good time. Kind of like this podcast. It's just have a good time. Have some stuff out there for pastors to do that are not have to worry about ministry all the time. And
is it actually like a pastor's cruise, or is it just like a bunch of pastors?
Yeah, just there's this guy that's kind of leading us up that has a lot of connections from a bunch of pastors, and he's like, "Hey, we're going on this cruise."
Gotcha.
But I think that like quite a few of his people he knows are going on it.
Yeah.
So, it's still gonna be a secular cruise.
Nice.
But we thought about doing the 3D Love Conference cruise.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Instead of doing it here, just get everybody together.
But if we do that, what am I going to win at the end of the?
You win coming home.
I win.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. A lot of people was like, "Why don't we just do that instead?" I'm just like, "Hey, I'm always down for vacation."
I'm in.
So, but yeah, it was a good time. Trey and Amanda came in on Friday night and did amazing. Pastor Keenan came in Saturday, and the third-rate preacher came in on Sunday.
Yeah, it just kind of went downhill.
It just went downhill from Saturday. Just
no, it was good. He had if you didn't see it, he had the stage. David likes the themes and the props. He had all the. Yeah. Well, it's all in his office, I guess.
It is all over.
He had these fish all on the stage. It was all underwater, aquatic, ocean themed.
There's my 7-foot shark over there, deflated.
Yeah, it's not as scary anymore.
So as I was doing this, it reminded me of our last podcast when y'all wanted to be killer sharks and
Orcas,
whales
man.
and stuff like that.
Orcas.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, during what was it you said? Oh man, when you were preaching, you said something about in the relationship, one person's the clam because they clam up.
The other one's a blowfish.
Yeah. Okay, so you
And
were
you're
saying,
like, I'm the shark.
dude. You were saying it. You were saying the thing. You said the clam part, and Tara looks over at me. She goes, "Are you the clam? I think you might be the clam." And I leaned over to her. I said, "I'm the orca, Tara." Wrong. I am the killer whale.
So if you're the clam, is she the blowfish?
I don't know. I told her I'm neither one. I told her there's a third option out there. I don't know. Although I guess, if we had to pick one, she'd probably be closer to the blowfish, and I'd be closer to the clam.
That's interesting because she's so quiet and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get see her. We get home, she's just yelling at me, just tearing me up, dude. Just.
You know what's funny? I'm the clam too, probably. As big as my personality is most of the time, I'm the clam in the relationship. Because for me, I'd rather just not fight about stuff and just whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm also the personality that like tomorrow I'm over it. You know, I don't hold anything like.
Yeah.
And that Sandra doesn't like that either. You know, because she's a female and she wants to talk it out and all that. I'm just like, why do I need to talk it out? I'm done with it. Like, I'm not even worried about it anymore, you know?
I'm so happy. Tara is not the person to, let's talk about it. We should talk for a long time. She's not that at all. She is just as equally like, let's just get over this as
good.
me.
When we first got married, bro, I would like, I'm done talking about this. And I would go to the next room and then like 5 minutes later, she comes in there. She's just, I just got to talk about something. And I'm like, I'm not talking about it no more. It's 4:00 in the morning, so I go to the next room, and then, so I'm rotating rooms in the house. I'm trying to get, so then I go lay down with the babies, and like, okay, she can't come in here because she'll wake the babies up, you know? She's like,
yeah, no, you got it. I would, no.
Now it's pretty good.
You're just trying to clam up.
I mean, I'm just trying to clam up.
She just poking you.
She is. She's
just poking you.
Trying to make me explode.
Now, I think I would be closer to the clam because I'm similar to you in that I'm a little more outgoing and aggressive, I guess, with my personality. But if you bring that into some kind of discussion or a fight or something, it just gets vicious. So I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to rip her head off.
That's how it was. I was very explosive. I used to be the blowfish. Yeah. Very much so.
I was when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Well, when we first got married, I would just let anybody and everybody have that. But that was just that whole street mentality, coming in. But, but the Lord worked on me and really took all that aggressiveness.
And now you're a dolphin, and now I am King Orca. Just out here doing it. Devouring seals, doing it. My sister texted me the other day. She's gotten to where she's texting me during podcasts whenever she's listening to them. Which, by the way, you can text me right now, Ryan, and just be like, "Hey, you're talking about me. It's crazy." When she texted me, she was just like, "Killer whale, really?" I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, and she's. Are
you even a Christian?
Yeah. And she's like, Flipper. The dolphin's name's Flipper. And I had to remember what the conversation was.
That's the problem, right? Because sometimes we talk so much.
It took me a second.
We forget even what we were saying.
Yeah.
I heard a very popular podcast, and they were saying some stuff like that. They're like, we talk so much.
She's texting me right now.
Oh, that is so crazy.
It's not about this.
But if it was,
Flipper. If it was, this wouldn't even make sense.
She's like, no, I'm not. I'm the clam.
I'm sorry, but
they don't even realize what they're saying, and most of the time they're, just talking just to talk, just to fill airtime and stuff like that. So,
well, I told you, that's not so much me. I get what I know what I'm saying, but the thing is, it won't come out till. I'm sorry. David just took a sip of some coffee and made a very silly face.
That hurt.
It was hot?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know what. He was uncomfortable with that coffee.
Yeah, that was tough.
But anyway, what'll happen is people will, we'll record something on Tuesday. It'll come out Thursday. And then people will listen to that episode 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then they'll see me a week after that and make a comment about something I said for 1 minute in that episode that came out a month ago.
Yeah.
And be like, am I right? They'll be like, Flipper, am I right? And I'll be like, what? With no context, we didn't bring it up yet.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what? And it'll take me.
Because we're supposed to be living in their current reality.
Yeah. So that was, for me, was 2 weeks ago. Or whatever it is. So I'll remember it if you bring it up and you're like, yeah, I remember because y'all said that. Da, da, da. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that a month ago. Yeah. You're right. But
Luke always brings, he'll listen to something that's really old or something like that and say something. I'm just like, I have no clue what you're talking about. What are we talking about? An episode. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'll remember. Yeah. But if you bring it up cold out of the blue, like no context, and you want to inside joke it, I'm not going to get the inside joke.
Hey, keep bringing them up though.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, keep bringing them up.
But I'm not going to get
it. You have to remind us where you're at though.
Yeah, tell me where you're at.
So everything's good. You won. The Super Bowl happened this past week. The Grammys happened.
Who won the Super Bowl?
The Kansas City won. The Chiefs.
Okay.
With 3 seconds left in the field goal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was actually a good game?
Pretty good game.
Oh, wow.
That's what I heard.
You didn't watch it either?
I went to bed about 8:30.
Wow. You left early to beat traffic? You're that guy?
Well, I went to Adam and Victoria's. We had some wings. And then halftime we went home and went to bed. Just been a long weekend with 3D and everything, so we were exhausted.
I get it.
Luke stayed up and watched it. But yeah. So Rihanna was on there. That was kind of weird.
I still haven't seen that performance either.
Flying around, lip singing in her red jumpsuit, pregnant.
Didn't love it?
Didn't love it.
You didn't love it, okay.
It was a letdown because...
Is it because you hate women? Is it because what
this is one thing. So Rihanna did a bunch of songs that she was just doing like the hook on. She was singing a Drake song that she was just featuring on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was a bunch of those because those are the hits. Yeah. She has very few hits of her own, but she has hits from Drake, Lil Wayne, and different things like that. So those are the popular ones. So that's the one she sung. So that was kind of weird. Her out there dancing and stuff like that, the way she was doing it pregnant was kind of weird for me too.
You don't think pregnant women are beautiful? Is that
I
what
do.
You're
I
saying?
actually think pregnant women are very beautiful, but I don't think they should be
dancing at the halftime show.
Dancing like strippers at the at the halftime show.
I mean, she probably. I'm gonna guess she got that gig before she was pregnant, and then it's such a big gig, you're not gonna just give it up.
Yeah. And she had this, the way she was dressed, she had the zipper zip right up to the bottom of her belly, so her belly was kind of sticking out. She was proud of that she was pregnant and all that, and I'm proud for her too, but.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You seen those, people take these pregnancy photos? You seen these photos? This is a new fad, just kind of like gender reveal things are a new thing that people are getting into. Everybody's into these pregnancy photos now. And, goodness gracious. Most of these photos, the girl's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant. I'm so beautiful. Let me, show off my body because pregnancy it's a miracle. And all that, which is great." And then they'll just take off all their clothes.
Oh no!
And get these photos.
So no, by the way, I have not seen these.
Yeah, and it'll be like,
I have not seen these, Sonny. I have not seen women naked. They'll
be just like barely covered up at all, and just the head's back and the hair's flowing or whatever, and then in all these photos, and I'm just like, what is going on here?
That's
and
crazy.
then the girls just show them to all their girlfriends, and the girls go, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful," and I'm like, it's
porn.
This is not. Well, it's not porn, but it's they're not 100% naked, but they're barely covered up at all. Or they don't have a shirt on, but they're turned to the side, and so the belly's out. And it's just, I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Just put some clothes on. Be beautiful. Let's celebrate. You're pregnant. That's great. Yeah. Can you do it with a shirt on? Do we have to?
No, because like,
Goodness gracious, Tara showed me one of her friends. She was like, "Hey, what do you think of these photos?" And I was like, "What the heck is this?
is this okay that I'm looking at it?
What is your friend doing? Put some clothes on." And they take their pet. It's just, what are you doing? No, what are you trying to do?
I haven't seen those.
Can't
I thought
you
you
be
meant like
beautiful?
the photos when they were taking when they first got pregnant, and then like 2 months later, and then 4 months.
No,
later.
they're not like. I'm not talking. They get the husband, and they're out in the field of flowers,
and
they're just like,
belly.
"Hey, we're pregnant," and it's crazy. No, I'm talking like they'll go to a photo shoot room. And then the girl will take off most of her clothes, and she'll get in some weird position that she's never been in before, put her hand behind her head or something. And then they take the photos, they put them in black and white, and they saturate it, and they're like, "Isn't this amazing?"
I have a customer that part of his company, he's got a consulting company, but part of that consulting company is they take pictures of husband and wives, but like in a very risque. Not nude, but very risque, around pools or whatever. Yeah, all that type of stuff. So,
and you like those?
No. I don't know.
Who are these photos for? Is what I'm saying.
I guess for each other, but like,
if I was a lady, I got pregnant. What am I going to do with those photos?
But this is my
thing. Send them to your mom. You send them to your grandma. You saying, "Look at this! Isn't it amazing how I took my clothes off?"
Okay, but if I have these passionate photos with my wife or whatever, why do I want to look at me?
Yeah, that's weird.
So I don't know.
Anyway,
what about the Grammys? Have you seen the Grammys?
No.
Have you heard about the Grammys?
I heard about the Sam Smith thing.
Yeah, who is Sam Smith? Do you know?
He's the guy that said, "You say I'm crazy." You know this one? But you don't think I know what you've done.
Keep going, I might get it.
You call me baby. Here it is. You know I'm not the only one.
That is so close to the song. We might get a strike. We might get a
No,
strike from YouTube.
That one.
That is so close. We might get a
you know
YouTube
the song?
strike. No.
Well, I'm pretty sure I nailed it. So that was spot on Sam Smith right there.
Okay. So he's a devil worshiper?
He's not. No, he's just a loser trying to get attention. He's nothing. It's not even a big deal. It's really dumb and stupid. That's what I think. It's the same stuff that people have been doing for... Okay, first off, so everybody knows what we're talking about. He did something where he like put on... what was the name of the song?
I have no idea. I haven't seen it. I just heard about it.
I think the song was called Unholy or something like that. That was like the theme.
Yes.
And I don't even know the song. But the whole theme, it was messing with those kind of ideas. And so... They choreographed his performance or whatever to be all these quote unholy.
It was very red and fiery.
So he's like got little plastic devil horns on and stuff. Anyway, I didn't even watch the thing, but that's what I heard. And so then all the articles are Sam Smith's going to turn our kids into devil worshippers.
Yeah. That's what I was reading.
It's all the same stuff, but that's the same stuff that's been going on since play Led Zeppelin backwards, and it's the same stuff. It comes out different artists every year or two.
Well, it's like history shows that kids are going to be the one that's going to go against the current culture, the current political stuff, and all that. So.
But Sam Smith, he's some loser. He had that song, right?
Rolling Which was actually was like the first people to, one of the first people to go against like the Rolling Stone magazine. Mm-hmm. They're writing, articles.
Yeah, you're just trying to be controversial so people will talk about you. So he had that song. That song came out like a decade ago or something like that. It was a decent song. But he got all diva and was like, "I'm not playing that song anymore. I'm a real artist and I've got more to say." So he was all like that about it. So now he won't play his hit anymore. He's got some other hits, but they're not. That was the biggest one, the one that I totally nailed, by the way. And so anyway, and then over the last few years, people stopped talking about him, right? So now he comes out as gay, but then gay is not really risque enough. So then he comes out as, I think he came out as non-binary, and then he's like dressing all extra weird. And he just keeps like whatever the new current thing is. Let me get out there, get some people to talk to him. And so now he's going to the Grammys. He's like, "Okay, I'll put on devil horns," and all the people's is he a devil worshiper? I don't know. And it's stupid. It's the same thing's been going on for forever. He's just some loser trying to get people to talk about him. That's it. That's what I think about you, Sam Smith. For sure you're going to listen to this, because once you hear about how I nailed that song, you're going to say, I got to check it out. And then you're going to listen to me call you a loser for a while.
You know what I think is going to happen? Like shows like American Idol and America's Got Talent, they're going to be seeking you out. They're going to hear this.
That's probably true.
On YouTube, and they're going to go, who is that guy?
Well, I'm a winner. I win cruises and I win contests, and that's probably what will happen. They'll probably seek me out. I'll go on American Idol, and I'll just do the one Sam Smith cover every time. I'm crazy. And they'll just, American Idol. Who's on there? Katy Perry be like, oh my gosh, I never did that voice. I never heard of it. Yeah, I never heard anything like that before. You make me crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy. I don't even know what the judges are these days.
All right, let's jump right into Culture Corner. All right, I'll go ahead and start off. I mentioned this during my message on Sunday about this guy here in Texas that's having he's getting a divorce with his wife, and he's got a kid that's preteen that has decided that he no longer wants to be a he.
Right.
He wants to be a she. And so he's battling.
This is the real issue you got to have with Sam Smith. That's what, not that he's worshiping Satan. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
So he's battling the Attorney General's office about a whole bunch of stuff. And I think the most crazy things about this is, first of all, when he was talking about this, there's no appeals court and family court, which is totally crazy. So basically these judges can make whatever decision they want to make, and you're stuck with it. Like, there's no appeal. You don't get a second chance. There's, if you get a corrupt, judge, something like that, you're just done, and you lose your kids, or you have to pay $10 billion a month in child support or whatever it may be. And the second thing that I thought was just absolutely nuts was that the federal government is paying the Texas Attorney General's 67 cents on the dollar when they give out a child support. So if they give me $1,000 a month in child support.
So I'm the judge. I say you got to pay $1,000 every month.
Yep.
In child support.
Then the federal government gives their Attorney General's office $672.
So they're giving me $672.
And that goes towards your retirement.
Wow. That's a good deal for me.
It is a good deal. It's also in your best interest to split up families.
Yeah.
It's in your best interest to give away as much child support as possible. They don't take into like how much money he makes or she makes. They just, whatever one's paying, they tax as hard as they can and make it. So I could make if I was the husband and I was keeping the kids, I could make $10 million a year, and you can make $100,000, and they're still going to penalize you, 30-40% of your salary, and I don't even need it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So stuff like that is it was just eye opening to me when I started looking into things about marriage and how the culture is really set up to destroy marriages and really destroy the covenant of a marriage, what God had set up and ordained. And it's just unbelievable the things that we are fighting against to keep relationships together. And I think that the other sad thing about that particular situation there is this mom has now moved her and her son to California to take on some of the more lenient laws. To get this young boy transitioned over to a female before he's even mature, before he can even drink a beer, before he can even serve in the military.
You said he's 15?
Preteen.
So he's like 13?
Yeah,
12,
13 years old. Yeah, the guy didn't say the age, but the way that he was talking about it and his schooling and stuff, I just picked up it was like a right there, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
So, they say the front part of your brain, the something cortex,
The frontal.
the frontal cortex, is not even fully developed in boys until you're 21,
I think it's 25.
25, something crazy like that. And then we're allowing them to make these type of decisions that are life-changing decisions. This is not like they're changing the color of their hair or they're dressing in clothes of the opposite sex. And we believe however you want to believe on that, but this is actually making, physical changes to bodies that are not going to be able to be changed back. So, it was tough. It was tough to listen to. It was tough for this guy. And this guy's got a little bit of money, so he's able to do a lot of things that, just say if it was me, I wouldn't have a chance. I would just go in there and the attorney general would tell me one thing and that would be it. And I would lose my son. I would lose my wife. I would lose everything that I ever had. And it would be tough on a father or a mother or something like that. So just, when you're electing your officials, think about stuff like that. Where I'm not telling you to vote one side of the aisle or the other, but just think that when you vote, a lot of these things matter, especially when you vote local. Everybody wants to vote for the president or whatever, but a lot of that stuff is coming from the local government.
Yeah, the votes that make the most difference are the local government ones. That's what you can actually change.
They can actually change.
And those are the ones that I think are voted on the least.
The least amount, yeah. And Sandra does a good job of making sure that I get out and vote because I was the same way. I'd go out once every 4 years and vote, and that would be it. But we live in a small community, so our community has less than 1,000 people in it in Cove, Texas, and so she makes me get out and vote for that stuff too. So she wants our community to stay a certain way. The reason that we moved out there, and the only way to do that is make sure that we get out and vote for the people that we think that will definitely do identify the way that we think and we believe. So, anyways, So if you're out there, just be careful. Do what you can do.
All right, well, here's mine. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here's the title. It says, an American man with prostate cancer started speaking in an Irish accent in the third known case of cancer-related foreign accent syndrome.
Oh, man, I love these things.
Yeah. Well, it's not so good for him.
Unless his wife really loves the accent.
I don't think she did. Actually, I don't even know if she did. Anyway, so here it is. It says, a rare form of prostate cancer came with an even rarer side effect, an Irish accent. As a new study published in January revealed, an unnamed American man in his 50s developed an Irish brogue, I think that's how you say it, almost 2 years after his cancer diagnosis, despite having never been to Ireland. So the dude gets cancer, gets prostate cancer. A couple years later, he starts speaking with an Irish accent. And so...
What if it was a good one?
I don't know, man. They were very confused because he's never been to Ireland. So it goes on to say...
It would be terrible if it was like a terrible accent.
Oh, it probably was. I mean, Irish isn't the best.
I mean, if you sound like McGregor,
I mean... it's fine.
Or he just sounds like a really bad American doing a bad accent.
Yeah, you brought it in. Well, okay, so look, it says... it's important to note that FAS, foreign accent syndrome, isn't exactly what it sounds like. Those afflicted with FAS aren't really talking in an accent per se. Rather, they are experiencing a neurological dysfunction that alters their speech patterns. To a listener, however, this change often sounds identifiably foreign. In this instance, the case happened to sound Irish. So they don't technically start talking with a insert country here accent. They just, their brain gets messed up, so they talk different than they used to, and then it comes out sounding like different countries.
What if you lived in New York, you started talking like a Texan?
Yeah, that you could.
Hey, y'all!
Yeah, it could happen. Exactly.
Hold that door.
Exactly. So they said apparently the way it happens is his body, he gets the cancer, and then his immune system starts attacking his body trying to get rid of the cancer, but it ends up messing up some part of his brain. And so because he got the cancer, his immune system messed up some of his brain and gave him this accent. And the sad part of the story is he dies a couple years later from the cancer, not from the accent. And he had the accent until his last days. And it said in the article, it says, so this is super rare, right? So this doesn't happen very often. So it said one of the most notable cases is, just give me that look, dude. It says there's this lady who's from, oh gosh, where is she from? I'm trying to find it real quick. Norway, no. She's from Norway. And so this happened right after World War II, right? So everybody, fresh off the war, lots of tension still. She's Norwegian. She's been Norwegian her whole life, speaking Norwegian fluently. And then she gets some cancer, and a couple years later, she starts speaking like a German. So she's got a German accent now.
That's not good though, right?
No, because it's right after the war, and everybody hates Germany. And so she said it was really...
She's like, no, I'm Norwegian.
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, right.
She's like, nine, I am Norwegian. No. So she said all of the people in society would like treat her bad because she'd go into a store to buy something, and she'd sound German, and they would like kick her out of the store and be like, you can't buy that here. And that went on for a long time.
That accent that you just had was the best one.
You liked that one? You can't buy that here. They were also suffering from foreign accent syndrome, and it was Atlanta ghetto. You can't buy that here. These different people. So that's a real thing going on. Not very common.
I think we should quickly move on before we appropriate every ethnicity.
What would you say my accent is? What would you call it?
Which one?
My normal speaking voice. What would you call it?
I guess it would just be Southern.
It's got some level of Southern.
Yeah, Southern.
But it's not, I don't think it would be.
We don't hear it.
I hear a little bit of it.
Yeah, but like we don't hear what, like if you came down from like, the Northeast or something would hear.
Yeah. But would you say, okay, but if you brought somebody in here with a Southern accent,
like a Southern belle,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I wouldn't sound near as Southern as a lot of these people.
No.
So what would you call it?
Or from like an old farmer from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
The
Alabama, the
Mississippi,
that area of the South is so much more Southern sounding.
Oh yeah, when you get right on the other side of the Mississippi, it gets real thick.
Real thick.
Yeah.
It's rough. I went on a cruise when I was like 13, and they got the fancy dining rooms that you can go to at the end of the night. Sometimes they'll have assigned seats, so your family is assigned to this table.
Yeah.
And so our family was assigned this big table with this other family. It was a husband and wife, and I think they had 3 daughters, if I remember right. And they were from Georgia, but they were from somewhere in that area. And they had. I remember sitting at that table being like, "What? Their accent? They have such a Southern accent."
Oh, yeah.
I was going, I don't have any accent because listen to these people.
That's the Southern accent that every movie tries to portray.
Yeah,
like a Southern accent is like Atlanta, Georgia. Like, yeah, those cornfields out there, they got some rednecks over there.
Did you call the people cornfields?
No,
I think
the land. They got those cornfields have some really rednecks in them. We're just offending everybody today.
It's fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Irish speaking guy, he's gone. So, which is too bad.
It is too bad.
Yeah,
because I'd like to meet him.
It would have been.
I think I don't know. I mean, I think that we have a pretty standard accent in Houston.
Yeah.
I don't think
because we're not too far out of the city, so we have a little bit of city slang ish. But we're in Texas, so we say y'all and stuff. We've definitely got.
So okay, let me ask you this. So, as a business owner, when I text, I don't use y'all.
Yeah, you can't.
But I use.
It's not professional.
I use you guys. But that's like such a northern thing to say is you guys. So when I meet these people, they're like, "Hey, where you from?" I'm from the Northeast, blah blah blah. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm from here." He goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
You said you all or you guys."
You've actually had people call you out on it?
Yeah, when I met them,
That's
I thought you were
hilarious.
from up there too. I'm just like, no, it's just like it's a little bit better English than we speak down here. And they're like, "Oh, okay." So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's
is.
happened twice, and they're both from like New England area or in the Northeast up there. So
That's amazing. I love that.
yeah,
Do you know which states are technically New England?
no.
I don't either. But I
I thought you was about to break it down for me.
no, because I forgot. Because one time I was serving some lady from, I think they were from Vermont or somewhere up in there, and I said something like, "Oh, y'all from the New England area," and they got real offended real quick because apparently that's a common mistake. Is nobody knows what is technically New England, and they broke it down for me. And they said, no, this is New England, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. These other ones, these are not New England. And they got real upset that I said that. But, they were in the New England area, whatever.
Yeah, that's what we say down here south.
Whatever.
Just Northeast
Yeah.
England. Hey, so before we move on, I'm sitting here at the desk the other day, and Pastor Ron, your grandfather, walks by. He goes, "Hey, son." He goes, "So I heard my grandson won that cruise," and I was just like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Well, how did you do that?" I'm like, How did I do what?" He goes, "How did you give away that cruise?" I was just like, "Well, I just got a Carnival Cruise gift card." He goes, "No, but how did you do it?" I think he was trying to figure out how he could get a free cruise.
Yeah.
I said,
Like you want to know like how you handed it out?
or
Like,
no, how I got a cruise.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. I was just like, "Oh, well, Senator, we bought it."
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, okay." He wanted to figure out.
that wasn't an option in his mind.
No, like,
How did you get it?
I guess he thought maybe I worked a deal with the cruise line to give
Yeah,
it away
yeah.
for the conference or something like that.
Like you did with these Roadhouse peanuts here.
Yeah. That came a day late. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That cruise is right on time, though, man.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, me and Tara laughed about that the whole way home. It was so funny. to
okay,
me.
so
it was so great.
that's something we really need to talk about because we talked about this in a podcast or two ago
I know I've been saying it for like a month.
about y'all going on this trip, and then you didn't want to go on that trip if you was going to miss this other
yeah,
trip,
and then we
you missed
didn't-
both trips.
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
I don't remember. I guess I did say it because it sounds like I said it.
Either we talked about it offline or we talked about it on here.
So my parents told me about the cruise that everybody just went on.
Like they
told
just
me,
got back Sunday.
They told me about this like a month ago. They said, "Hey, we're all going on this cruise.
Really good deal on
Y'all
that
should-
cruise.
yeah,
too.
good deal.
Yeah.
Y'all should come." And looked it up. It was a good deal. It was a 7-day cruise. It was going to be basically like $1,000 for 2 people, which is like $500 a person.
And that's like
7
that's a
days.
nice room though. That's not even like an interior room. Was
No,
it?
no, this one was an interior.
Okay.
The deal they were originally doing was more, and it was a good deal but those went out by the time we looked at it. Anyway, they tell us about the cruise. I said, okay, well, let me talk to Tara, see what's going on, and I'll get back to you or whatever. So I tell Tara about this cruise. Say it's a good deal. It's basically going to be $500 a person for 7 days.
Still a
really-
great deal.
Great deal.
That's with taxes and everything, right?
Yeah, like after taxes, tip included, after all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $1,000 for 2 people. And so I'm telling her this. I said, hey, and she's kind of like iffy on cruises. She's only been on one, so But she took the one, and she's like, yeah, that's fun. I don't know if I'd pick a cruise. I think I'd probably like to just go to a place and stay in that one place for a week instead of kind of being there for a day and then going somewhere
That's
else.
kind of like me. But
Which, I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a different conversation. Yeah. Anyway, but so I tell her about the cruise. She goes, well, there's this thing called NSECA, which she's told me about for a couple years now. And this is the clay festival of all clay festivals, apparently. So it's the biggest one. So if you're into ceramics at all, this is the one you go to every year. And it moves around every year. A couple years ago it was in California, I think. This year it's going to be in Cincinnati. And it's in March. And she goes, I'm going this year. Because she's been talking about maybe going, for a couple years now. She goes, this is the year we're going. I've talked to some friends. We get some friends together. We're going to go up there. We'll rent out an Airbnb or something, so it'll be more affordable, blah, 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 blah. We're going this year in March. And so I tell her about the cruise, said it's in February. And she goes, well, I'm definitely going to Ensika this year. And I know, $500 a person is a great deal, but that's still going to be kind of a lot because I'm definitely going on this trip to the Clay Festival in Cincinnati, like a month later. And I said that, but she hasn't planned anything. She ain't booked nothing. All she's done is texted her friends that said they're interested. And this has happened before where she's told me about, I'm talking to my friends, we're going to do this thing, and then it doesn't happen because the friends don't do anything. And next thing you know, it's a week before they're supposed to do the thing, and nobody's booked anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't.
You know what I mean? It doesn't get planned out.
Yeah.
And so she'll tell me about this stuff, and I'll just be like, okay, well, let me know. And it doesn't happen. So I'm thinking this is probably going to happen with this Ensika thing in Cincinnati. And so I tell her, I say, hey, it's totally cool if you want to go to Ohio instead of take the cruise. I'm totally in with that. Because I told her I'd go, I probably wouldn't go to the festival, but I'd hang out during the day and we could hang out at night, whatever. I don't think I've ever been to Cincinnati. Be fun, right? And so I said, it's totally cool if you want to take that trip instead of the cruise. I said, but this is what I don't want to happen. Because I'd like to go on the cruise if we're not taking the other trip. And I said, what I don't want to happen is us say, hey, we're not going on the cruise because we're going to do this trip in March, and we don't think we can do both trips. And then nothing gets done for the March trip, and then we end up not going on either one of them. I said, that's what I don't want to happen. And long story short, that's exactly what happened. And so I was kind of annoyed by it. I didn't really care. It wasn't that big a deal. But I was like, this is what I don't want to happen. She said, absolutely, I'm going to start calling people. And that's exactly what happened. So that's why it's even better that we just won this cruise. Because she goes, man, you wanted to take a cruise, and now you just giving a cruise. Said, that's right, Tara. That's how it goes. We're gonna go on a cruise now. So now we got one, so it's gonna be great. But the whole ride home, we'd be talking about whatever, and then one of us would just start laughing and be like, I can't believe we just won that cruise. We've been joking about how we're gonna win for forever.
That was funny, man.
And then we talk about
when you said it was us, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
I know everybody was.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I'm saying. It's so great.
What did you win last time?
I won like 3 different things. We won that book.
Yeah.
I think we won some shirts, but we won some kind of gift cards. I think we won one of the dinner date night movie things.
Okay.
I think we won one of those. And we won another thing.
I thought you won like one of the bigger ones too.
We did.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It was some kind of gift card for something.
Yeah.
Though. I can't remember what it was though. But yeah, we won like 3 things that time. It was like every other prize. It was like, that's me.
Oh, and then when you started winning again, I was just like, oh my goodness, this guy.
Caesar came up to me after the service. He goes, he goes, I know I talked to you, years ago about maybe doing a Sunday school class, like leading a class or something. And you said, no, I don't think that's my calling. And, I agree still, but I think you might be a prophet, man, because you've been saying you're going to win that cruise for weeks. I said, yeah, dude.
That's funny.
I said, that's fine with me. I'll just keep winning cruises in the name of Jesus. I said, that's fine.
I'm going to keep gambling in church.
I'll just keep... Hey, I didn't have to pay for the ticket. It's fine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was pumped about it.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, so in the spirit of Valentine's Day time you hear this will be a couple days ago, but people will be celebrating this weekend. Mm-hmm. We celebrated ours yesterday, and some people did it the weekend before when we did our 3D Love Conference. So all you like holy Christians, hold on to your seatbelts because I'm about to play Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper, Holy.
I hear a lot about sinners think that I'll be a saint, but I might go down to the river. 'Cause the way that the sky opens up when we touch it, it's making me say that the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feels so holy, 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 holy. Oh God, running to the altar like a track star, can't wait another second. 'Cause the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feels so holy. I don't do well with the drama, and no, I can't stand it being fake. No, 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 no. I don't believe in Nirvana, but the way that we love in the night gave me life, baby. I can't explain it. The way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feels so holy, 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 holy. Oh God, running to the altar like a track star, can't wait another second. 'Cause the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feels so holy.
It's sad for me to have to make this announcement, but we have to shut down the plant. I know it's due to the current and ongoing global situation. You have been incredible employees, and there is simply no way that we can keep afloat at this particular point in time. I want each and every one of you to know that you are highly valued. We're going to... I'm truly sorry.
They say we're too young and the pimps and the players say don't go crushing. Wise men say fools rushing, but I don't know. They say we're too young and the pimps and the players say don't go crushing. Wise men say fools are rushing, but I don't know.
Chance, the rapper.
The first that pleases the Father might be the hardest to take, but when you come out of the water,
I'm a believer, my heart is fleshy. Life is short with a temper, like Joe Pesci. They always come and sing your praises, your name is catchy, but they don't see you how I see you. Parlay and Desi, cross tween Hesse. Hit the jet speed, when they get messy, go lefty, like Lionel Messi. Let's take a trip and get the Vespas, or rent a jet ski. I know the spots that got the best weed, we going next week. I wanna honor you. Rise groom, I'm my father's child. I know when the son takes the first step, the father's proud. If you make it to the water, he'll part the clouds. I know he made you a snack like Oscar Proud. Suffer it to be, so now gotta clean it up. Formalize the union and communion he could trust. I know I ain't leaving you like I know he ain't leaving us. I know we believe in God and I know God believes in us.
you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me.
Hey, you folks all right?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Where you guys heading?
We don't really know.
So that's Holy, Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper. So is that like a relationship song, or is that a gospel song about God?
It's a relationship song
For
for
sure.
sure.
Because Chance the Rapper was a little bit more of
Yeah.
kind of a spiritual type deal there going on, but Bieber was more of the relationship with him and his girl. I thought it was a good song.
Yeah.
I would never say that about a Justin Bieber song in my 20s. But the more he's matured, I think that he's making better music now.
In your
than he is.
20s, Justin Bieber wasn't even alive.
Okay.
Just to be fair.
My early 30s.
Yeah, maybe. He might have been like 9.
How old is Justin Bieber?
He's not that old, man. He's
Hey
like
Siri,
he's
how
like-
old is Justin Bieber?
He's probably the same age as me.
You think?
I'm about
How old are you?
tomorrow I'm turning 29. So he's probably not 30 yet.
He's 28.
So right now, 28.
Yeah. So
Gosh, I'm the best.
in
at
my
this.
20s, he was 8. So he was not even found on YouTube yet. Dang it.
Although he did pop off young.
Yeah, but 8?
Yeah,
maybe?
he wasn't 8.
maybe like 12, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Dang it, I'm getting old.
Anyway, yeah, no, that's like Chance the Rapper's shtick. He's always doing these like gospel-y things.
Just like tiptoeing in the water. But
Yeah, and
not
it's
really
like half
committing.
of it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then he'll be like, yo, I know the spot with the best weed.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it won't quite.
It doesn't all connect.
No.
No, yeah. I only can hope, these guys are not, are just growing in their faith, right? And they're not just like playing with God. But that's kind of like where I really want to go is this, this interview that was on the relevantmagazine.com. And it's, let's see who this guy is from the Barnum Group. And he's the president of the Barnum Group, David Kidman. And he was saying that since the pandemic, there is a new interest in a spiritual life. And it's not really everybody's like flocking to Jesus personally himself, but just opening themselves up spiritually. And he thinks that there's an opportunity there for the church to be able to maybe kind of switch directions on the way that they're ministering online than we are currently. And he references like pirating music, the way that used to be, and then how Spotify came out and really kind of changed the way people consume music to combat that part of it. And then maybe the church can take a look at kind of doing an online outreach type stuff, really to kind of combat some of the things that are going on. If people are really out there looking for something spiritual in their life. So let's listen to this and then we'll talk about it.
I feel like I've heard so many other reports that say that Christianity is on the decline and it's losing interest, but your report kind of shows that those are just sort of hearsay and that's not actually what's happening.
Well, Christianity in some ways is on the decline, but the openness to spirituality isn't. And so it's a kind of a both and both things can be true at once. So, activity in churches has declined overall in the last, 50 years, and sort of identification as Christians has declined significantly. But rumors of the demise of Christianity are much exaggerated because still, tens of millions of Americans are active in their faith and active in Christianity. And there are pockets of resurgence, even so much as saying that like millennials and millennials of color are more likely to be attending church today than they were before the pandemic, or at least engaged in a church in some fashion. So there's interesting kind of like ebbs and flows to social life and to spiritual life and how it gets expressed. And we're in, I think, like a very open moment where people are more open to God than we probably could have expected of them, but they're also they're dealing with a lot of questions, and there's some still residual resentment and hurt that comes from many people towards the church, and so we have to kind of take all that into account.
Like the openness to spirituality, I think so many people read that, specifically Christians read that as they're open to Christianity, but you're saying it's not just Christian faith, it's like any sort of religion, is that right?
Yeah, and remember that Americans, appetite for deep things is really not very deep. They're kind of a mile wide and an inch deep, so they're open to spirituality, they're open to God. It's sort of shocking to me, having done this for so long, that people are so open to the idea that there is a spiritual dimension to life, a supernatural dimension. Again, the fact that more than 2 out of every 5 Americans say they're more open to God than they were before the pandemic. Early on, the pandemic seemed to make very little difference to Americans' spiritual appetite. So it's only as the crisis and the sort of the series of things that have happened to us economically and racial reckoning and political fragmentation, and people sort of looked more squarely in the mirror over the last few years. We're coming on now 3 years since the pandemic began, And they're almost like, oh yeah, I guess there are some things in my life I probably should take a second look at. So they're open to spirituality, and Christianity could be a critical player in answering, I think, the deepest longings of our time. And that's what I think is a great opportunity for the church to step up and address those questions. But they're not just saying, hey, we really want to meet Jesus again. I think there's a lot of different dimensions to that for people and how that's playing itself out.
Yeah, I feel like I've noticed that too, that it's not that people want to just hear about the Bible, but like you said, like they want it to apply to their life in like a very tangible way.
And I think underneath the surface of that too, there's good, healthy questions around what does it mean to be a member of the church? Like, why does the church still matter? And what does it mean to be, after COVID, especially with all the hybrid or online worship, or, I actually think we are, embodied physical people in the physical connection and community. If we are physically well enough to do that is important. But I also think that the church prior to COVID was unrealistic about the notion of what people were doing online, that there's a sort of, it's a big word, but a pedagogical revolution happening in our midst. How people learn, how they think about, what they know, how they know it. And this is a little theory I have that, just like music piracy 15, 20 years ago changed the way people accessed music, and finally enterprise and business had to come up with new systems to distribute music. So we've had streaming, and obviously iTunes sort of revolutionized the idea that you could purchase, even on a song by song basis, rather than on an album basis, and so there were business solutions to the notion of music piracy, but I think we're going through a period of what I call learning piracy, that people can learn what they want, when they want, at a price they want, all of which is essentially for free. I mean, you can learn, you can get a PhD in anything really if you just were intense enough. And people who are autodidacts, self learners, it's the heyday for that, because you can just go down any rabbit hole on any topic, and I think our digital age is now mediating knowledge. It's telling us what to learn. It's like the algorithms are picking the things that they think we're interested in, and they're going to be far more accurate to our interests and our sensibilities than the church could ever be. But the Holy Spirit is actually a far more powerful algorithm. It's like it actually knows us at the deepest level, not just what we want, but also what we need. And so I think there's some really fun things that could be on the horizon as we think about the church as a learning community, not just a place to come and gather. Now, I'm saying not just, because I'm not saying that coming and gathering or, physical or online worship are unimportant. They're actually really critical. But I actually think there's something in what I'm seeing in the data as like this new moment where we can come together to say the things that make us uniquely Christian in identity and practice. Those are not just a couple of sermons with, a cute alliteration of, 3 words that start with the letter P, but that we actually have to learn together, from a lot of Christian tradition and history, and even just from, the wisdom in the world that we can find, and actually stitch together a better way of being human. And so I think that we're in an interesting era of learning piracy, where I wonder how we can make sense of the way we should live as Christians in a powerful, deep way that is not anti algorithms, because I think there's some beautiful things we can learn online, but actually is pro Jesus being through and through at the center of all of the things that we learn, and the way we live our lives and orient our aspirations.
All right, so there's definitely some interesting things there to talk about. I think that one of the things that's coming out of some of these thoughts is something that we talked about on the last episode when we talked about the campaign He Gets Us. And so that's launched. I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl or not, but there was multiple commercials on the Super Bowl about He Gets Us and reintroducing Jesus back to this culture, because there is a draw back to a spiritual relationship, not necessarily like he was talking about Jesus, but a draw there. And anytime there's a draw there, there's an opportunity for the church. And one thing the church doesn't do well is capitalize on current opportunities. We seem like we're just a little bit behind. And I think that's, with He Gets Us and that campaign, they're kind of leading, some things there that the church has not normally been able to do. The sad part about it was he was talking about that this culture is really not a deep culture. We're very wide but very shallow.
Yeah.
And I see that. But through those things there is a draw, right? And then I think that if you followed Joe Rogan at all, you don't even have to listen to his podcast to kind of know Joe Rogan and where he stands on different things. But just over the years, he's been very anti-Christian. And then it went from he went from very anti-religious establishment, period. Mm-hmm. And then kind of went from that to, Christian things are a good thing to live off of. They're a good thing, but really, is there a true God? Is Jesus? He don't believe in any of that, but he thinks that society was built off of that, and it's good for society, but not necessarily true. To now him actually making very slight comments about. Maybe there is something going on here. I know that he really trusts Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson's been on his podcast a lot talking about Jesus and the Bible and a lot of those things. So you can see, even with the high profile people like that, the thought established religion at any kind was bad, not true, shouldn't be dealt with, to now coming around to something like that. The culture follows that. Mm-hmm. They follow the big guys that are doing these podcasts, or they have the cultural influence and stuff. So you'll see either he's following the culture, or the culture following, or they're moving together. So I think that there's an opportunity for the church. Now, the problem with this is most churches are 100 people, right? And then, even if those 100 people are tithing and they make, just say $40,000 a year, there's not a whole lot of income for us to really make a huge online impact in a lot of these areas. So we have to deal. The problem is we have to deal with a lot of these larger churches, and so many times the larger churches are a little bit more left-leaning sometimes, I would say. That's probably not the best word for it, but they're a little bit more liberal. And so a lot of their messages and a lot of their focus on some of the online stuff is a little bit more something that we probably wouldn't agree with, or Pastor Caesar definitely wouldn't agree with. But there is opportunity, and that's the thing, is how do you get from that opportunity? Because we are living in this, like he's saying, that we're living in this information highway, right? We're living in a time that you can learn about anything and everything online. I was telling him in my message on Sunday, like, I learned the pole business by watching YouTube videos. Right. I didn't know anything about it. Here I owned a company that I didn't know anything about, and learned it all on YouTube. So if you want to learn it, it's out there. And I think that you are seeing a lot of good representations of Christians that are doing some good things on YouTube now, you know, they're putting some really good content out there. This is the problem though. Like the world can, they can put anything and everything. They can go on the Grammys and they can dress up like the devil and go ham and do all those things, you know, and the rest of the world celebrates them. Then you have the church that we have, you know, guys like Ruslan, KD that's doing some really good things. And we have a lot of these other content creators, Christian content creators. And then we'll let one thing like once saved, always saved, or, or Calvinist or something like that will divide us and not let us to come together because we're not clear on one aspect of Christianity, you know, and then instead of agreeing on the 90% and then just don't worry about the other 10%, we focus on the 10% that we don't agree with, and we let that become, a roadblock for us not to be able to come together and create together and create a bigger footprint, because we're attacking it together instead of one little small piece at a time. And I think a lot of times that's the church. And that's not saying that, not trying to say that your church is not anointed to be where it's at, but that's why you have so many churches, because everybody wants to open up their own church because they want to do it their own way, you know? And I think there's a balance between trying to keep it all in one church. You know, some people was just like, we're better if we all stay in one church and grow this church and everything's moving in the same direction, or having these smaller churches. I think there's value in smaller churches. There's value in bigger churches. But a lot of times we're opening churches because we want to do it our way instead of have God ordain those things. Sure. And then how do we fulfill those online needs? This is the biggest thing. So we struggled with this after COVID in our church, is trying to get the people back, right? So a lot of these people left because of COVID. We shut the church down. We had these issues, worldwide. And now, how do we get them back? Mm-hmm. So a lot of churches have shut their online presence down. They've quit live streaming. They've stopped doing a lot of the social media stuff to try to get them back in the church. My understanding is they're just going to flip the channel.
Yeah.
If they're not coming back, it's because there's some type of fear that's going on. There's some type of, maybe there is some medical stuff that they're scared of. I know we have a faithful member of our church that hasn't been back. He almost died and was in a coma for weeks with COVID, and he's just not coming out of his house, and it's a sad deal. But he's 90 years old. Yeah. So I understand. But there's so much stuff out there that if we stop online presence, they're just going to change the channel. Mm-hmm. They're going to find the next guy that's doing it well, and there's a lot of churches that are doing online ministry well. Yeah. So I think that's the challenge of the church right now, is how do we do this? And there's companies out there that will help. I don't want to name any names because I'm going to talk a little bit bad about them, but I understand too. So there's,
you mean help like market your church?
Marketing, yeah, like church market companies.
Okay.
Which is great, right? I mean, it's great that some of these Christian people have these marketing backgrounds, have now tried to parlay that over into the Christian side. But we can't hire a marketing company in our church. We can't afford that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, would we benefit from it? Yes. And it's easy for me to say that we can't afford it, because would it benefit us, and would it bring more income in, so we could do more outreaches and we could do more online, have a bigger online presence, probably.
Yeah.
But when you have to pick of like hiring a marketing company to market your church to fulfill that online footprint, or you could help a single mom that's struggling pay her bills or put food in her cabinet. That's the thing that, you know, churches these days are having to deal with, you know? And I think that, that those marketing companies are great, but they cost money. And I understand, like they can't do it for free. They have to pay their bills too. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that most churches can't. And I know a lot of them have tried to structure them around number of people in your church, you know, and they've tried to do a good job with that, which helps. But with times like this, where marketing would be the best thing that we could do, but it's times like this that it's the things that you can't afford the most, right? Because giving's down, you know, all across all denominations right now, because people are not coming in, people are not working, different things like that. So people are not giving. So these are all the problems. Yeah. The answers are the difficult part to come up with, right?
I mean, I guess so. I think like, especially with like paying for marketing or something like that. I mean, just like we said, I think he said it on the podcast too, like if you want to learn something, you can learn it online pretty much for free these days. Yeah. You just said you bought a pool business and then learned it all yourself on YouTube. Right. You know, if the church was like, we got to figure out marketing, that's what has to happen. There's no reason that you couldn't just have somebody take some online classes, watch some YouTube videos or whatever, and figure it out yourself. Yeah. I think it's just, you know, with everything, I just think you always got to say, you know, what is God's path for us? What is his will for us? What does he want us to do? If he wants you to focus on marketing, then he'll figure out a way for you, you know? And maybe that's hiring a company. He'll provide the money then. Maybe it's you doing it yourself. It's like we always talk about here, you know, people come into the offices with an idea for something, and we're just like, okay, cool, you should do that. Right. And I think we need more of that. I do like that on the video he was talking about like, you know, times are changing, and he was comparing it to streaming revolutionizing stuff, and he was talking about like trying to adapt to that. I love that attitude a lot more than things are changing, how are we gonna keep up, things are changing, therefore it's bad. Right. I like the attitude a lot more of things are changing, okay, so let's adapt, let's figure it out. You know, I don't like the idea of like fighting against the change and trying to hold on to the way things were. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for that, but most of the time things are changing, you know, figure it out, adjust, adapt, and overcome, all that kind of stuff.
And the church is always like weird about that, right?
Yeah, they're always weird because, you know, the church, I think inherently it's a traditional thing. So you want to stay the same to a certain extent, because that's just like part of its identity is we have these beliefs, we got to stick to it, which is good. You know, you should stick to the beliefs. These are the 10 Commandments. There's a reason they're there. Yeah. This is what we're going to uphold. But so you need some level of this is what we do. We're going to keep doing this. But obviously, you still got to be able to. But
it's this for me, okay? Like if you know you don't want let's just talk about like some of the crazy things that people don't want in their church, like moving lights and smoke. Okay, that's been the thing in church forever, right? Oh, you know, if you bring smoke in, the devil's coming in with it.
David had some smoke.
I did have some smoke.
He had some haze at the conference. It was kind of nice.
But what if we took that same outlook about, okay, so we're going to just do it just like the disciples done it. Okay, we're going to put sandals on, and we're going to walk, to the other side of the country. But we have cars and buses and planes now. No. So we're just like, no. Traditionally, they had sandals and they're going to walk, and that's the way we're going to do it because that's the way they used to.
Well, I mean, you're basically just the Amish people then.
Yeah.
Right.
And how much more ministry could you get done because you use the technology that God provided and inspired in people, you know? And I think that a lot of time that the church gets hung up for it. I think that the biggest thing is connecting the online presence to the body. Like that's the big thing. Like who are you out there? Who are you? Username, whatever, in YouTube or Instagram. Like who is that, and how do we get them connected to the body? And I think it's great that you're listening every week and you're being fed and all those things. But like, what's going on Monday through Saturday in your life, and is anybody there to, holding you accountable and feeding you in a deeper level and being there for you when you go through crisis and all those things? I think that's the gap that needs to be filled, and can you do that just online? And maybe you can. I mean, maybe you could set up a meta church. I don't know. That's even scary to even say, right? Because here I am traditionally thinking, oh, you can't have a meta church, But what if you could? I mean,
then you could have people from all over the world,
and you can
virtually
like tuning in every single day and working through issues and having meta marriage counseling and meta, all these different things, right?
Yeah, why not?
That sounds scary. But why not?
Yeah.
If the UFC is going to have a meta, UFC that you can watch and you feel like you're there live, why can't the church do the same thing? It's kind of crazy to even think of. But I think that we have to be able to look into the future instead of letting the secular lead the way, that we figure out how that we can see what's going on and also lead the way on those things too.
Yeah.
Did anything else pop out to you what he was saying?
My whole main thought of it is just, I think there's some Bible verses that I can't remember word for word that would be perfect for this. But the idea of it is they're basically calling people who are so romantic about, like, well, back in my day we did this. This is how we used to do. They're just like calling those people foolish and stupid, basically. And I think, I think that's what it is. I think we always have to be focused on. We have to be willing to embrace change and the new technologies, the new culture, the new everything. Be willing to embrace it and not so much fight it and take the good out of it. Everybody always wants to talk about social media is so horrible. We've talked about this before. It does all these bad things, but then you can also look at it and say, hey, social media is great because it connects all these people and you can do all these great things with it too. So I just, if you just block it off totally because it's got some bad stuff, you're going to miss out on a lot of good opportunity to reach a lot of people. And I think that's true with every aspect of technology, every aspect of new culture, all that kind of stuff. So I think you got to be willing to embrace the new and be working hard on how to do that properly while always being focused and grounded in, your core beliefs and, what is Christianity, what is loving God, all that kind of stuff. Change the things that need to change. Don't change the things that don't need to change.
Yeah, that's good.
That's kind of what I took from
I think that the core beliefs that's a perfect point. So.
Yeah, because most people don't know what they believe. They kind of do, and then their beliefs change constantly.
Yeah, and that's what he was talking about, being so shallow, right?
Yeah.
I think that we have to have core beliefs and not have tradition just for tradition.
Yeah.
I think that you have the ability to do both. You have the ability to give the same information out, but in a new way. Mm-hmm. And I think every single generation has a new way that you're going to start hearing preachers say cap and whatever. No cap. And all
Jesus loves you, fam. No cap.
Yeah. You're going to hear that, right? Yeah. Why? Because that's what the culture is. And that's how people understand people talking these days. And then you find yourself texting these weird things and emojis and different things. That's because that's how people communicate. And so is it bad? Probably not. What's it gonna? Why is FAM bad instead of spelling family out? Mm-hmm. There's no difference. You're saving a few keystrokes and then that's how this generation talks. It'd just be like somebody that's in their 90s trying to go up to somebody that's like 15 and telling them about the current culture, and they're going to be like, man, you don't have no clue.
Yeah.
But if you come to them where they can hear you, or they can like connect with you, and that's why it's important that we all have different roles, in the church, and that's why the Bible talks about every generation accomplishing something different. The old men are going to do this, and the younger men are going to do this, and the older ladies will do this, and because we all have a place.
Yeah.
We all need to fulfill those things in our own walk, so everything gets accomplished, and not something that I preach that I don't know if I'm going to be very good at is sorry.
Nice.
Is making sure when you're at a certain age, you drop into that role that you need to be in, because I see it in some of the older people in my life right now. They're still trying to fulfill the roles that I'm supposed to be fulfilling.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to fulfill those, then they're not allowing me to do the things that I should be doing as a man. And then they're creating a void for where they're supposed to be, right? So it's not only is it retarding the things that I'm supposed to be doing, but it's also creating a void, that next step for them. So yeah, I think it was very interesting. I like listening to those guys, especially the Spartan guys. That's what they do. They run studies constantly on Christianity and faith and stuff like that, to hear their perspective on things. And so, what is that? What is the Spotify for the future for Christianity? Yeah. And I think that's the key, and that's what we have to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that there was music playing the whole time they were talking. I hated that.
There was a little. I think it would have been okay, but it was just a little loud.
I don't know.
I like music underneath, but it was a little loud.
I guess I like it if it's a really short clip. It's fine, I guess. But it was, it was the whole time. Yeah. And it was just a loop.
That would just be like us
very distracting.
having stuff under us the whole time.
Yeah, just the whole time.
That's what it was. The bass was too loud. I remember now.
You know what we'll have in the background from now on? I think this is how we should do it. We should have me covering Sam Smith in the background. Underneath everything we say. Crazy. I think that's what we'll do, and I think I think this is how we adapt. This is how we get. This is what people want.
This is it.
They want music underneath. They want to hear it when you're talking. It really helps them focus on what you're saying.
We just figured out how to.
So I think a little of me in the background. You don't think you know what you done. I think that'll draw them in. I think that'll get them.
I don't even call this dude right now.
You won't even have to do any of the marketing stuff you're talking about.
You just need to go home and record that. And then we'll send this out to every church in America. And this is going to fill the gap.
Isn't it easier to listen to what you're saying than me doing that?
Yeah. I was thinking better, too. Yeah.
Yep. We figured it out. We're
I
good.
even played that during my prayer time and everything. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We love you.
This is the Refuge Project.